So, students, I am in Togo. Togo is not on our syllabus. We were not going to discuss Togo, but I was traveling in Africa, and I thought this was a teachable moment. Togo is a West African country. It was colonized by the Germans first, and then after World War I, the French took over. Because if you know your history, the Germans lost their colonies when they lost World War One. Anyway, Togo is right next to Ghana. In Ghana and Togo, you have some of the same tribes or ethnicities. I use the word ethnicities because it has less of a negative connotation than tribes. But you have some of the same tribes or ethnicities. But because one was colonized by the French, Togo, and Ghana was colonized by the British, then their names are actually often spelled differently. For example, I went to governor school with an Ashanti girl from Ghana, and her first name was Afua. And I have a friend here in Togo whose name is the same, but it's spelled differently. Instead of with the A, it's Efwa. But they're both based on the Asante day of the week that these women were born on. They're both from the same tribe. And this European cut up is what created differences there. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this, the reason why I want to do this video, and I'm trying to keep it as short as possible, is that, so I had a flight booked from Newark to Lomé, Togo to Senegal. Last night, we had a lot of bad weather in Newark, rains and all that. So the flight took off 2 hours later than normal. And when we got to Newark, my connecting flight to Dakar had already taken off. So the airline put me up in a hotel. Now I get to the hotel, and it's a nice. I'm used to staying in these hotels in Africa that may not reach the standards of minimum standards that we have in the States, but I travel a lot in Africa, so I'm used to it. And I saw they had an AC. I said, okay, I'm gonna sleep good tonight. Then the next thing, I go to the bathroom, and I didn't see a hot water heater, because in most of the African hotels, you'll have, not all of them, but most of them, you have a hot water heater that's separate in the room, in the bathroom, and it has a separate switch. So you switch it on shortly before you take your shower, and then you switch it off when you're done. And this one didn't have that. So I just go on, I turned the water on hot, and I said, well, I guess I'm not gonna have any hot water tonight. And the water got hot. And I'm thinking, okay, they got hot water similar to the way we do in the States, where you have a central hot water heater and it just goes throughout. A lot of hotels, more and more hotels are getting that here in Africa, because they get those big hot water heaters that you can put on the roof that are solar powered. It just takes a little bit longer for the hot water to get to your room. Anyway, the reason why I thought about that is I want to tell you, reiterate, and I think we've talked about it in the class, but maybe not specifically, how many things that we take for granted in the U.S. that they don't have in many other countries. And hot water is something most Americans take for granted. You probably would have never thought, oh, there's not going to be any hot water in the hotel, or maybe there's not a air conditioning in the hotel. I was thinking those things. Why do we have the similar standard of living? I mean, why don't we have the same standard of living as your average person in Togo or Benin or Ghana? The reason being is because in the Western world, Western Europe, the US, we've concocted an economic system where certain countries, European countries, mostly in America, the US, reap the benefits of exploitation and extraction of benefits of other countries. So like we've been talking about Congo. We haven't even begun to talk about Sierra Leone, but hopefully you've read Ismail Bea's book. Sierra Leone, diamonds, big, big, big. In Congo, you got diamonds, you got gold, you got coltan, You got bauxite. You got all kind of minerals there that people are trying to take advantage of. And it's huge and a weak government. So getting these things for next to nothing has enabled us to create a bubble that separates us from organic reality. So that when we want chicken, we don't have to go in the yard and kill the chicken. We just go to the grocery store and buy it. You can buy it already made. If you want beef, you don't have to go out and slaughter a cow. You can get the beef wherever. If it's hot outside, you can push a button and it's cool in your room. If it's cold outside, you can push another button and it's warm in your house or your room. The reason why we have all these things is because our nation has been complicit in the exploitation and extraction of resources from countries all over the world. The U.S. mostly did Central and South America and the Caribbean, but the U.S. has also been participant in some extraction of resources in Africa. And I want you guys to be cognizant of that. Anyway, I'll show you this bathroom because it still didn't meet the standards that I thought it should meet. But I got clean in it. Well, I think I got clean in it. You see the shower there? Well, there's no shower. There's nothing hanging on. So immediately I thought, okay, that's just a handheld shower, little thin tub. That's not going to work. The sink and everything. And one towel. One towel. I want y'all to think about these things because you're not taking this class just to learn some things about Africa and go on. I want to teach you these things about the world so you can be active in changing it, because to do nothing requires nothing, but it makes you complicit in the problem.